says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you lusting is the one you're loving?
I'm telling Nas, I said, we're going to get 3 tour buses. We're going to wrap you, Ja, Ashanti. And I said, we're going to hitch a Rolls Royce, a Ferrari, a Bentley to the back of the tour bus. This is when he was like, okay, I'm not. And I said, Joe, we hit Baltimore, right? So we got to show him Baltimore tonight. Before we go to the show, we're going to hit the hood. And I said, we're going to ride through. Because I was like, yo, hood is going to go crazy. Imagine me, Nas, Ja, Shanti, and we pulling up in Rolls Royces and eating fried chicken.
All right.
In the hood. That's a moment.
Everywhere in Baltimore is the hood.
Right, but that's a moment.
Yeah, you can just walk outside your hotel.
Anyone who gets a glimpse of that is never forgetting that.
Right,
it's true.
Changed almost.
So Nas was like, yo, I hear you, but...
Damn, you sound just like him right now.
He was like, no, I hear you, but what if we get killed being in the hood like that? This is when I lost. I said, if we get killed, I said, then we martyrs.
I gotta feel it. Yeah, you'd have lost me too.
Then we're martyrs.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. And we could tweet it out. The level of ignorance of this, and of course he's on Drink Champs. He sounds like he's half drunk. That was Irv Gotti talking about the time that he approached Nas with this brilliant idea to hitch on the back of a truck a whole cavalry with the Ferrari and the Rolls Royce, and we ride through Baltimore eating fried chicken. It will change everything. I can't believe he didn't want to do this. And Nas is like, no, I'm good. Matter of fact, what if we get killed? Well, then we'll be martyrs. Martyrs. Like, what kind of conversation is this? Doc Calloway is here. This is like ridiculousness.
That is insane to me. I mean, these are young men. When I'm their age, I'm trying to fight for partnership at a law firm. I mean, that is mind-blowing to me that these young brothers were young, rich, wild, and free. I mean, legitimately like living a movie. Wow. I'm always still kind of mind-blown by the notion that there are those of us who succeeded in this white supremacist, patriarchal American capitalist game without fully submitting their time and talents to the path that I was told to go. I was told to go high school, college, something after, good ass job, right? And every time I marvel when I think about 50 years of hip hop, because hip hop has created people and enterprises and corporations and tremendous amounts of value. Hip hop has sustained families for people who did not have to do it that traditional way. I got it out the mud. I'm making beats. I'm managing these artists. And you being from up north, you being a true Yankee, right? You had so much more insight to that because these are your peers, right? I have to imagine that Karen Hunter's peers, you look left and you look right. There's D Nice, there's Heavy D. These are the brothers.
They're not my peers. No, yeah. And while Queen Latifah, Whitney Houston from, Queens, La 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 from Halstead, Whitney, Dogtown, they weren't my peers because I could never hang out because there was a different edict on my block. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just did I did an amazing town hall with Kevin Powell, one of the first writers at Vibe, multiple covers, and Kierna, the great Kierna Mayo, one of the co-founders of Honey Mag. And, we've had Dream Hampton on, who's also been through, she was in the trenches. We were actually at some point warring, politically speaking, because she was team Puff Daddy during the time when it was like, no. And I've always kind of been a journalist, even as a child, watching on the outside and, reporting on what was going on, never was inside. I was never inside any of this. But it was also a little distasteful. Like that culture did not, and it's part of our culture, hip hop. But that never. I'm like, it seemed weird to me. The whole video hoe thing and all of the lyrics. Missy was intriguing. TLC. Queen Latifah, of course, who you calling a bitch? That was intriguing. But even that, like her hanging out in the Latin quarters and all, like I could never do that. I could never hang out at a club and it's even 17, 18. What? I could even at college. I didn't even feel comfortable doing it. I wasn't even drinking Don Calloway. So that was never my thing. To get high, be on ecstasy. Like I'm listening to this. I'm like, what?
Well, I think that's kind of the interesting piece is that hip hop is such a thing now that multiple humans exist and are sustained by and hold up and advance this culture, such that this era, right, this mid 90s, I don't know what years we want to call it, but 92 to 2000, this golden era in which the global commercial interests found out about this thing and made all these black kids rich, right? I think that era was defined by the decadence, right? And the overindulgence and the consumerism.
This is why I played it. This is why I played it.
And that's exactly what they're speaking to in that clip. But I will say, it was a whole culture. So there were all.
But it wasn't our culture. It wasn't.
But the artists were there. But the artists were there, and the Michelle Ndegeocellos were there, and maybe not hip hop. I'm trying to think.
She is hip hop. I think she's hip hop. We can go right? Diggable Underground and all of that, right? But what I'm gonna say to you
was there. Shout out to Muhammad.
Yeah, I'm watching First Ladies or what Ladies First, the documentary.
I do this, Carolina.
I names out there.
I am hip hop.
You are not hip hop. You are lying to the audience, and I'm gonna call BS on you because here's the truth. Here's the truth. That all of that Irv Gotti is talking about primarily pushed into white neighborhoods in the suburb. That quote unquote culture that most of us did not live. 70% of that was purchased and consumed and memorized by white boys in the suburbs. So if we sit with that reality and that truth, then we have to ask the question, why was that the image of Black people pushed out when that didn't represent what Black people were actually experiencing? Because even those people in the Marcy Projects and Hollis, Queens, and all of the spaces where there may have been, Fat Cat Supreme, the drug dealers, Tommy Mickens or whatever in Queens, and you can go to, the BMFs in Detroit, or you can go into all of this. Even my man, who's the guy, Ricky Ross in LA, who actually spread crack throughout. But even that wasn't our culture. It was something, again, pushed upon us and then pushed out to the general world, not just, America, as Black culture, but it's not Black culture. So I think we need to have that conversation.
I think that is an important angle here. And that is absolutely right. But at some point it is kind of Black culture, and it didn't start with them. We didn't always like to shine now. We didn't always like to put it on. You've seen them clips with Lil Richard talking because I like to put it on. You've seen them, right? And so shining and stunting and whips and chains didn't start with hip hop. It became
putting women on dog chains. Putting women swiping cards up women's asses. Come on.
No, ma'am. I'm old enough to where I done seen, and they're starting to resurface on Instagram if you get into the right despicable rabbit holes. I done seen. How were they talking about women in Scream, Blackula Scream? Because this is what my daddy used to rent.
Okay, when I was all right. Let's talk about that because I'm not old enough to remember that. And
yes, listen, if you're my age, you are. Look, I was Ricky Roundtree them talking about women in Coffee Brown.
Was that prevalent though? Don, was that prevalent? Let's talk about it. We got to go to a break.
Lord, yeah. This was the dominant interest of Black people at the time.
I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one